Did you know that 160 million Africans in the diaspora contribute nearly 100 billion US dollars every year to Africa in remittances? That is according to the World Bank. This is mind-blowing, really mind-blowing, because this accounts to about 3% of Africa's GDP and supports the living costs of an estimated 200 million people out of 1.2 billion people in Africa. What is GDP, you ask?
P, or gross domestic product. And why should you even care?
It is one of those indicators that economists use to gauge how good or bad a country's economy is, the size of the economy. It measures the value added created through the production of goods and services in a country during a certain period, normally every year.
Goods and services, you get gross domestic product. Or you can add up incomes. If you add up the income of all the United States in 1 year, you get US GDP. So a higher GDP means everyone's doing great, right? Not always.
The larger your production base is, the larger your economy becomes. Based on nominal GDP alone, Nigeria is considered to be the largest economy in Africa, with a GDP of 504 billion dollars, followed by Egypt with 469 billion dollars. And in third place is South Africa, which used to be the first, with 419 billion dollars. Before I continue though, we'll be talking a lot about Africans who earn money from work in the diaspora, but there are many others who don't necessarily work to earn a wage. Maybe you're in cryptocurrency, real estate, you invest in stock, or have a side hustle, or multiple streams of income. If you're one of them, please leave your comments below. We would like to hear from you. There are a surprising number of Africans in the diaspora that are in other ventures rather than work. Back to the lecture at hand. What are remittances? Well, this is the money that siblings, that is your brother or sister, or maybe even parents, who are able to send you some money after slaving away some ungodly hours of work somewhere in Europe or maybe in the USA, China, and other Asian countries, even Cambodia. There are a few Africans living there. Africans send money through M-Pesa, WorldRemit, Flutterwave, or the good old Western Union and stand within the comfort of their homes through an app, while the people in Africa will then go pick it up physically from the bank or a cash bureau. The community outside of Africa is generally known as the African diaspora, as you know. Well, according to the World Bank, the 100 billion dollars which the African diaspora sent to Africa in remittances is more than the amount Africa as a continent receives through official development assistance, or in short ODA, which are donor communities or countries pledging funds for various development projects in Africa. So countries such as the USA or countries in the European Union will pledge to support a poor country in the area of their choice as a contribution to their yearly budget of the country. The terms of these grants are usually dictated by the donor country. The African country is told what to do basically with the Western money. Secondary remittances sent to Africa are also larger than foreign direct investment, FDI, which are foreign companies who decide to open and operate businesses in Africa. Therefore, the combination of official development funds, ODA, and foreign direct investment, FDI, to Africa in any given year is less than the contributions made by the African diaspora in the same year. This is why this is huge. The remittances sent to Africa by the African diaspora has more than doubled in the past decade. This means only 10 years ago, the African diaspora could only manage 37 billion dollars to be exact. The conclusion here is that Africans have become the largest financier of Africa. Well, what? Hold on. Not the USA or China? No. But fellow Africans are driving the continent forward. These are not loans or grants, as the president of African Development Bank says, but it's just like money, cash in the hand. Why are remittances so important for Africa? These funds are used to cover living expenses such as school fees, buying food, paying rent and healthcare, among others. Your uncle wants a bicycle, there is a wedding for your cousins. Remittances are also a good source of foreign currency. As you are aware, the unavailability of the USA dollar indeed remains a big drawback in Africa. Hence, the notion of de-dollarization is picking up pace with the intention to eventually replace the USA dollar. We shall discuss dollarization in another video. Currently, the Western world are still able to maintain power and influence in Africa through economic means, exploiting this over reliance on aid. There is an old adage, nothing is for free. Obviously, To come to a point where Africans are driving their economies through remittances requires some organization and trust in government services. Remittances, the money the African diaspora send home, is not a new phenomenon around the world. In fact, many developing economies today thrive on remittances. Filipinos are the biggest exporter of nurses and other skilled labor. That is how their system is designed, an exporter of human capital. Shall we look at a few other examples? Indians abroad sent around $110 billion home. The Chinese diaspora sent $51 billion. The Filipinos, $38 billion and Pakistanis, $30 billion. Some countries such as Tonga, 44% of their GDP are remittances. Lebanon is at 36%, while Samoa is at 34% of their GDP from remittances. These figures are mad crazy. When it comes to Africa, the trend is largely driven by Nigeria, Egypt, Ghana, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, and Uganda. Nigeria gets an A for being the leading African nation with remittances. They are usually the most industrious in Africa. Leave your comments below if you think that Nigerians are the biggest hustlers on the African continent. Honorable mention goes to Ghana for being number 3. By the way, if there are any of my people in Ghana watching who would like to hear what were the financial benefits of the year of the return. Africans migrate to other countries to earn a living, but we are starting to create the opportunities in Africa. But we still have a long way to go. Our economies simply can't absorb us all. There is really nothing wrong in seeking opportunities elsewhere when you can, so let's not feel guilty about it. That's how the world works at this moment in time.
In fact, your parents sent you outside the country in the first place so that you can support them, isn't it? Might be a bit of an exaggeration for some people, but that is the general expectation. You look after your own parents and your siblings. It's just a culture.
M-Pesa, World Remit, Western Union, and now Flutterwave. Flutterwave is the new kid on the block. It has been named as an African unicorn, so please do support them if you can. Flutterwave is sponsoring me to say this. Well, no, they are not. I wish. Someone said that the difference between rich people and poor people is that when they get money, the rich think of how they can multiply their money while the poor goes straight to spending. So next time you're sending money for consumption, try something else. There are many sectors that are beginning to thrive in Africa. The healthcare space in Africa is underdeveloped and prime for investment in areas such as digital health. Africa is sunny. Renewable energy is an obvious space that needs development. The youth have already started exploiting this space. Agriculture. Where do I start? This is a sector that is taking off. This space is already making millionaires. Technology, especially mobile money or fintech, logistics, finance, and many others have taken off. My favorite quote by Steve Jobs is "Start small, think big." I'll end with a tale of caution. I never forget the story of Adebayo, the football player, not my favorite player of all time. But you do remember he penned a letter in public complaining that he had helped a lot of his relatives and friends with his money, up to the point that a lot of people started to feel entitled to his money. I did not always agree with Adebayo, but this happens a lot in Africa. Consumption of remittance. Some friends and family become entitled in the process. They expect you to feed their families no matter what. You only hear from them when they want something. Africa is on the move. Join the movement. I will see you in my next video.